So I want to read the opening of this piece, because this is actually something we've said for a while. It says close allies of Donald J. Trump are preparing to populate a new administration with a more aggressive breed of right-wing lawyer, dispensing with traditional conservatives who they believe stymied his agenda in his first term, also known as, Sarah, rejected his election challenges. The allies have been drawing up lists of lawyers they view as ideologically and temperamentally suited to serve in a second Trump administration. Their aim is to reduce the chances that politically appointed lawyers would frustrate a more radical White House agenda, as they sometimes did when Mr. Trump was in office, by raising objections to its desires for certain harsher immigration policies or for greater personal control over the Justice Department, among others. And it's sort of talking about how people are getting more confident that he's going to win in November. And so they're making plans. And Russell Vought, a former Trump administration official, who, by the way, Sarah, I actually defended in his confirmation hearing because he was put on the skillet for his religious beliefs, if you might remember. And I said in National Review, no religious tests, guys, no religious tests, which is absolutely correct. You can and should test people for wild ideology, and he should have flunked that one. But here's what Russ Vought says. The Federalist Society doesn't know what time it is. The Federalist Society doesn't know what time it is. We could reach one of those interesting points, Sarah, where in a second Trump term, where you know how a lot of Democrats looked at George W. Bush and Mitt Romney and John McCain and others very differently after Trump. You might reach a point where people look at the Federalist Society very differently after Trump term number 2. But that phrase, what time it is, if you ever hear that, listener, watch out. Because that is a term of art used in the nationalist right to essentially say the typical conventions of liberal, small L liberal, classically liberal jurisprudence need to be thrown out because the republic is in a state of near collapse. The liberalism, again, small L liberalism of the American founding is an impediment to saving the country. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And you know what time it is, Sarah? It is time for desperate measures. And so that is the mindset. And then the other thing, if you're still on Twitter, you will notice that there are a lot of lawyers, right-wing lawyers on Twitter who are really aggressive and pugilistic online and very aggressively against the mainstream of conservative jurisprudence. When you see this, think to yourself, they're auditioning. They're auditioning for this second Trump term. And so I do think what you would see in the second Trump term is a real fracturing of the conservative legal movement that has thus far not fractured as completely as other elements of conservatism. And so I think in the second Trump term, you would see other parts of conservatism facing the choices. I mean, the legal conservative movement facing the choices that the other parts of the conservative movement faced that they didn't really have to, because Leonard Leo was over there during the Trump administration saying, Federalist Society judges, Federalist Society judges. And so for the Federalist Society say, the Trump term was mostly good until the end. He was putting those folks out. No more, no more.